Life in Canada can be challenging, whether you're new to the country or have been here for years. But once you unlock some of the right services, build connections, and access the right support, you can truly thrive. Canada is a beautiful country with so much to offer, and no one should have to navigate its challenges alone. Welcome to Thrive in Canada, where we explore real-life experiences, practical solutions, and expert insights to help you build a fulfilling life here. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects many of us, mental health. Adjusting to life in a new country, balancing work and family, or facing cultural and systemic barriers can take a serious toll on well-being. Understanding how to access the right support is key to thriving. To help us navigate these challenges, we're joined by two incredible guests from Well Journey Services. Claudia Jones is a registered social worker and psychotherapist, and Teresa Salazar, who is a registered psychotherapist as well. In this conversation, we'll unpack the mental health struggles that both immigrants and longtime residents face, the barriers to accessing therapy, and how culturally adapted care can make a real difference. So let's get started. First of all, what inspired you both to start Well Journey Services, and why is culturally sensitive mental health care important for newcomers?
Thank you for this space, Sherry, to share with everybody what is so important to us, which is mental health care for immigrants and for everybody, really. And to answer your question, we first started as colleagues because we were both working for the same organization. Then we became friends, and then after that, since we were doing such amazing work together, we decided that we wanted to be business partners to create a service that we were looking for always within our community. We saw the need that our clients that basically looked like us and had the same trajectory as us, were facing all the barriers that they had to handle throughout the years in terms of not finding the right care, not finding the care that they needed in their own language, being lost in wait lists for the longest time. Or, my personal dislike was doing therapy through an interpreter. So that was one of the things that helped us create something that was so custom-made, not only for our community, but community of immigrants, people that already left so much in their home country, and they were here in this country in navigating systems that were not built for them.
Yeah. But it wasn't just that, it was also the passion to be able to undo those barriers that is holding us from being or living the life that we want to live in this country. Yeah, especially in my own experience as an immigrant. I'm from Colombia, and learning a new language. It was super difficult to find service in my own language. And I didn't want it for others to go through the same stuff. That at least go there where you can see it and connect with someone who really understands what you're going through. That's vital for us.
For sure. Apart from language, what are the most common mental health struggles of immigrants?
I think that the most common is, think about it. We immigrate for different reasons, yeah? We can immigrate for love, we can immigrate for various opportunities, we can immigrate because our life are in risk, depending. So not just the mourning of your culture, not just the disconnection from your roots, not just the disconnection from your family. That's also high anxiety or symptoms of anxiety. I don't like to talk about labels, but symptoms of anxiety, symptoms of depression. Also, many of us need to jump into the workforce, without really being able to connect with what we are. So we have to put ourselves and many of our incredible skills on hold to survive. And that takes a ton of us. So you can see a bunch of anxiety, symptoms of anxiety, depression, stress, PTSD,
Because on top of everything that you have to leave behind, you're coming into like an alien territory. A lot of us feel like we were much stronger than this. Why all of a sudden we're breaking?
And that's the thing that we don't realize, how powerful we are. Or maybe we realize in the process, but when you have to survive, that's like overseeing. As you were saying, many of us struggle with that, with getting connected, with getting to function in a new context. And I always tell my client, look, this is like you bring a tropical plant to a different land. So we need to care and connect with the plant and caring and put in water. That's the same that we need to do in order to connect with others.
Exactly. Yeah. And all of a sudden, if you're so incredibly worried about the future, right? So there's a lot of anxiety placed in the future.
Yeah.
What's going to happen over there? How am I going to support my family? How am I going to make sure that I enter the workforce in the place that I want to enter? And we also worry about the past. Right? What I lost, all the grief that I have, all the things that I left in terms of my family, my friends, my culture, my language, the food, my position. So it is so difficult to place yourself in the present, and the present can be incredibly difficult as well. So if you're overwhelmed because of future, your present, and your past, all of a sudden, all the menial tasks, all the everyday things are incredibly difficult. To make a phone call, to make a friend, to go grocery shopping becomes this overwhelming thing. And that is when our self-esteem, like you say, starts to falter and think, am I overreacting? Why I cannot do the things that I used to do in my sleep before, all of a sudden are incredibly difficult to me right now. Exactly. And it's because your system is overloaded and overwhelmed. Yeah. And that's what we have to go through as immigrants.
You both use culturally adaptive or adapted cognitive behavioral therapy, trauma-informed practices, and anti-oppressive frameworks. Can you explain how these approaches help immigrants and refugees?
Yes. So let's face it, many of the psychological perspectives have been done for people who are white and heterosexual and very rooted in that culture. If you really want to connect with your client, you need to see all the intersectionalities of your client. So bringing a twist in those modalities is essential because you need to connect with what your client is. Think about it. We are like onions. We have multiple layers, And if we really want to enjoy, for those who like to eat onions, we have to peel it and organize it and be able to connect. So that's what we do with these culturally adaptations. If I cannot connect with my client in a human level, I cannot really know what it is important for them, or what are their values, or what they are struggling with. So if I don't have also a culturally adapted perspective, I'm not going to know that all the systemic barriers are there, how language is affecting, how probably oppression is part of this, and that it needs to be or have a place in therapy. And we need to talk about that and name it. Because many of us go through process of oppression that we are not naming and is affecting our mental health. So that's how we combine that.
Before I saw your website, I saw mental health treatment as maybe, and I didn't realize that I was seeing it in a very general sense, like across the board for everyone who needs mental health support. But then when you introduced that you have special needs, or you have a different set of needs because you are coming from, maybe you have gender identity challenges or racial challenges. That is a new perspective that kind of clicked in my mind. And now that you're explaining that you do need to connect with them or get them to express themselves in that sphere and make them feel safe before you can actually peel another layer, which is what is really troubling them.
You need to connect and see your client. Like therapy needs to be a safe place when you can be as beautiful as you are and complex as we all are.
Many immigrants and refugees face financial and, as you said earlier, language barriers when seeking mental health services. How does Well Journey Services address these challenges?
Okay. Talking about barriers in general, what we try to do is we offer a safe place where we will try to connect with you, not only in terms of therapy, but actually see you and see your place in the world, right? And one of the things that we do this is we offer therapy in a couple of languages. We try to see the person in terms of their entirety. And we are trying to be as inclusive as possible in terms of not only seeing clients that have access to benefits through work and insurance and stuff like that, but we were also very specific in trying to offer free services for the people that cannot access services to therapy. And one of the reasons that we became providers of one of the programs that the government offers, and through this program, our clients who are refugee and refugee claimants get to have access to free therapy for sometimes 10 sessions or more. And that is one of the things that we are really proud of, because we are incurring into a private therapy section, but we are still thinking about the less fortunate and the less vulnerable people that are going through financial struggles, and that is one of the things that we do.
So this is your company. Do I call it a company? Your organization?
Yes, you can call it that. We're
a private practice.
We call it a private practice. Yeah.
So it is under the Interim Federal Health Program.
Yes.
Yes,
And
you're right.
how do people know? Can you explain how people can check if they're eligible to access the free services through that program?
If you are a refugee claimant, or you have different status that are not a PR or a citizen, you are able to check if you are eligible. You can contact us and we can guide you through the process to see first if you're eligible, and two, if you are eligible, we will apply with you to be able to access this amazing service. So it is basically a couple of steps that you need to go through. And we invite everybody that think that they can be eligible. As I said, refugee claimants mainly, give us a call and we will guide you through all the steps to do it.
It is important to say that this is case by case, because cover is not the same for everyone. Yeah. So each case is different.
It's not unusual for those who need help to be hesitant to ask for help. What advice can you give to newcomers who may be hesitant to reach out for mental health support?
Okay. I think that the first step is not even making the call. Yeah. I think that the first step is to do something to your own self-care, to be able to feel safe in your own body. And later on, like many of us, or in many cultures, and I don't want to generalize, is a big stigma in regards of mental health. So it's maybe not feeling that is a weakness or that you are on deficit. It's more to seeing like you are reaching for help. And when we are sick, we don't, or when we are feeling dizzy, or maybe we have an internal problem with our body or whatever, we go to the doctor. So it is the same with mental health. If you're feeling that you want to connect with someone, that you want to talk about yourself, that you want to explore yourself, or getting help, it is the same. I encourage to call us or any other service in the community that are free to get the support.
What about for the families? What can family members do, or the community, when they feel like a loved one or somebody in their area, in their community, could use some support in that area and is not reaching out?
Okay, one of the first things that someone can do for anybody that comes to you and let you know that they're having mental health struggles is to give them the space and listen to them. You have to listen to them without any judgment. You have to listen to them, not with the intention to let them know why this is happening to them. You have to listen, not the intention to let them know what they need to do. You have to listen just so that person feels seen, that person feels validated, that you are there for them. And then you can ask, how can I help you? How can I support you? And based on what they tell you, then you can proceed. Then you can proceed. Because that is the most important thing. To listen, to ask how can they help you, and also to encourage them to go outside and try to search for support. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. So many of my clients tell me, oh, my accent is terrible. And I tell them, no, your accent is a beautiful thing. That your accent is a sign of courage. Same thing with asking for help. You going outside and asking for help, it's a sign of courage. It's a sign that you want to heal. It's a sign that you want to process, that you want to get better. So that's one of those things, you know?
That's a very beautiful message. And some of us don't realize that, for example, our loved ones are going through something difficult. We don't realize that we're actually part of what's making them feel that stress, right? But we do want to help them. So it helps when we keep in mind that they might just need somebody to listen to them. Don't put in what you want them to do or where you want them to, because that's just going to add to the stress.
Exactly.
Right? If you impose what you want, but then there is the challenge is real for those who want to help their loved ones as well. Because, there's so many baggages within relationships. And when you want to help someone, sometimes the best thing to do, or that's a form of help also, is to stay away and give them space. It depends on of course, it depends on a lot of factors, but that's a possibility. Can you share a general example without having to reveal some personal details of a client's journey, for example, that illustrates the mental struggles that immigrants often face?
But maybe I can do some self-claim about my own life. I look at when I moved to this country, I struggled with depression. 3 years of severe depression because of what you was mentioning. It was difficult to connect. It was difficult to learn the language. It was difficult to even move myself out of my safety net that it was my house and explore the city. So many of the learnings that I have from that time is that, we struggle with symptoms of depression, symptoms of anxiety, symptoms of not feeling good enough, symptoms of what I'm going to do with all my expertise and my career and my knowledge. Do I have to put it there? But I have to survive. So I have to put everything in a package and make it in a really nice bowl and go to the workforce and do something.
And pretend nothing's wrong.
Exactly. And masking and putting a face. Because you
especially
need
with us women, we put our makeup, we put our high heels or whatever.
So you put your performance outside. You go on drag and you put your entire performance and you perform. And then when you come home and you are in the safety net of your house, you start feeling those feelings. Because guess what? All my depression, all my anxiety, all my agoraphobia that I developed, it was still there. I wasn't dealing with that. But eventually with the right support, and for that reason I'm so passionate about this, with the right support, with the right connection in the community, I was able to thrive.
So you also were a recipient of a support.
Exactly. And I struggled and I walked, put it like this, it took me 6 months to find someone that could provide services in Spanish for me because I wasn't feeling comfortable to talk to someone who speaks in English. Emotions is a language that we all have and sounds different in each one's head. And in mine, sounds in Spanish. So I need to talk through my own language to be able to develop this. And you will say, oh, she's a psychotherapist and she probably have all the tools. Yeah, theoretically. But I need to connect with someone to be able to really feel those feelings.
You were already a psychotherapist when you needed this same support.
Yeah, because as I was saying, many of us come with a love love and incredible knowledge. So I was a psychologist back home. I'm not a psychologist here. I was a psychologist, and I have my education and my master in family therapy. And I wasn't able to practice here because that's another systemic barrier that we have.
Right.
All that incredible education that we bring from back home is like, you come here and it's like, oh, you have to transfer all that knowledge and all those credentials in order to be a qualifying professional here. Mm-hmm. So now I'm a psychotherapist qualifying. I'm in the process to get my full registration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You were nodding to what she was saying earlier. Did you want to add to that?
Oh, just, much like Teresa says, we have walked in our clients' shoes. We're wearing those shoes right now. Yeah. Because we are racialized women with accents. We are immigrants. We bring all this education, but we cannot use it here. So we have to go through so many things before we can actually do something that matters so much to us. So we felt all of those barriers. We felt all that unprocessed trauma that we had to put it to one side to be able to try to continue, to show our families, to show our kids that we are okay. We're okay. But all of a sudden, all of these things erupt at some point, So we had to deal with those things at some point to be able to move forward.
Yeah. And what do these unprocessed trauma do? How does it rear its ugly head?
Well, it rears in every cell of your body, right? You will show that in your interactions. You will show that in your relationships. You will show that in your body, in your relationship with yourself. Because very often we are the hardest with ourselves. We are incredibly cruel to us. We will tell ourselves things that we never tell other people about themselves, right? So that's the beauty of therapy, because you have someone in front of you that can see you from outside and see all the things that you're saying to yourself and helps you put the problem away from you for a minute. So you and the therapist can look at that problem and work together to solve that problem that is a little bit outside of you. So you, for the first time, don't see yourself as a problem, but see the problem right there, right? So that's one of the beautiful things about therapy, that you can put some distance between the problem and yourself. That is called externality. And that way you can start a healing process, hopefully.
And for many of us that are immigrant, and as we were saying before, we have to mask. The fact that we have to put ourselves in this survivor mode, and we reach a point of stability, there is when we start feeling like, oh, why is suddenly I feeling sad? Why am suddenly I'm struggling with communication? It's not suddenly, it's just that we haven't had the time to process how this process of immigration and settlement, it is affecting us. Plus, each one, as I said, we are onions, so have multiple layers, so probably each one have different aspects that are affecting how you're feeling at that point.
What's the difference between confiding in a friend, or when do you know when you should go to a therapist or a friend would suffice?
That's such an interesting
And this is a question because sometimes when close friends get involved or loved ones get involved, there are certain situations when sometimes you've already resolved it and they're still there. And sometimes they are hurt for you. When you have recovered, sometimes they haven't recovered. Oh, maybe that's why therapists are there. They're professionals who can process this with you with the discipline to disengage.
Both things are very useful, because the other day I heard something that resonated so much with me, and it's no healing is done alone, right? You need community, you need friends, you need people around you to talk, to process stuff and whatnot. And sometimes besides those people around you that can hear you, that can support you, but also can suffer from or with you, you also need someone that is going to look at you with different eyes, with eyes that where there is no personal connection in there. So these are very different eyes, maybe educated eyes in that field. So both things are very valuable, I think, from very different reasons. And it's always a beautiful thing to see a therapist, not only when you are in the middle of terrible struggles and whatnot, but also to get to know yourself, to find out what is it that you want in life, to improve our relationship, to tackle the different stages, let's say, in raising a child. Toddler years are incredibly difficult. Teenage years, not even gonna say anything about that. So, and then, once you go through all of those things, then adult years and your kids leave. So all of these stages require your friends, your family, people around you. But sometimes you also require the cooler eye, not the cooler, I'm translating from Spanish, the unbiased eyes of a therapist.
And the caring eyes. Because it's also that connection.
Sorry.
No. I was saying that is that connection, the one that heals. How you can connect with someone in a human level, but also seeing all the beauty of people.
I'm curious about this. As therapists, especially if you've gone through a lot of the challenges that your clients have gone through, you listen to a lot of challenges and issues. Does your jar get full? Like when you get home, do you carry the problems, issues of other people? How do you process it yourself? How do you deal with those things?
We have each other.
First of all, I'm so lucky to have this wonderful woman in my life because we can discuss this struggle. Yes, we are human beings. We have our own struggles, but these, of course, take a ton of us. So part of our responsibility is to take care of ourselves in order to be a good psychotherapist. So taking care of myself, it could be looking different in each case, but for me is doing regular therapy, doing supervision, taking care of how many hours of sleep I have, if I'm eating well. Like I always laugh because my 1 p.m., I always have to text them if I'm late. I need to eat. Yeah, give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna be late.
Self-care.
It's self-care. It is important.
You have to basically practice what you preach. You also have to take care of yourself, definitely.
And that could be, per se, a struggle if you live in a very fast-paced life. And so always make a space for yourself, make a space for what you fill our jars, with love. Yeah, it could be looking different in each case. I don't know how it's for you, Claudia.
Exactly. I agree. We have to practice what we preach because we will very much know whenever we're in trouble. Whenever you feel like you cannot handle anymore, or when you feel in a personal level somebody else's struggle, you know they're in trouble and you need to follow whatever steps you have set to be able to manage those things. Because like I said before, you're in front of someone that is struggling and is suffering. But if you're suffering with them, who's helping?
Yeah.
Who's helping? So you have to be able to take care of yourself first to be able to.
Right, because I realize that when I do not have the bandwidth, when I am tired, I lack sleep, I get cranky, I get stressed easily. I get triggered easily. That's why I was wondering, because, for example, for me, I have children, I have a husband, I have all these other things that I have to deal with. But you have to deal with your own issues and the issues of other people as well. How do you carry that? I guess that was my question.
But it's a beautiful thing what we get to do as well, because we get to see change on people that were struggling before, and then all of a sudden you see them get better. What a beautiful thing. What a privilege that help us also, to feed our need to support people that are going through things. So that's, I think, one of the things that, help us manage the difficult times.
Yeah, but also healthy boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
Boundaries is something that it helps us to not just to have this bubble of protection for ourselves, but also to be able to connect in the right way with our clients. What I mean is, like, even though I'm holding space for yourself, even though I'm hearing your struggle, even though I know and I probably could empathize with you, I'm not suffering with you at that point. Because if you know, I'm not going to be a helpful psychotherapist. So I have to put a boundary and I have to remove myself from that pain. And what it looks is like, it's not like we are not caring, it's not like we are not connected. It's that healthy distance that it have to be in order for me to be a good helper. And another part that is really important is to take care of ourselves. If a case is, like if I'm struggling with some feelings in regards of a session or in regards of a specific case, I need to require support. So we go to supervision to discuss what are those feelings that are coming. Yeah, because we're human beings, of course. If you're telling me the worst things that have happened in your life, I'm human. I'm going to be affected. I need to take care of myself if that it gets stick in me.
Yes, because I think also this part of the conversation can also be helpful to some of us. People confide in us. It's good to hear also that you got to have your boundaries when you're listening to people. You got to keep your strength. And maybe sometimes when you're not feeling very strong, is that okay to set your boundaries and say, maybe we can talk about this tomorrow?
Crucial that you do.
Mm-hmm. How do we support them and have our boundaries as well?
So look, at boundaries start for knowing ourselves, and knowing what we need. And as I was saying before, because I'm hungry, like if I'm hungry, I'm not gonna be a good listener. So if a friend, if you already know that probably you have a situation that you are not quite comfortable listening or quite comfortable supporting, so identify those moments. Or if you are not in the right, how many times we receive calls from friends that are ready to unhold the entire day, and we're in a rush, and we're trying to do our best, and we just do like, and then we don't do follow-up questions. That could be more, that's not helpful. So just say like, hey, can I call you in 10 minutes when I'm at home and I can really give you the attention that you need at that point? Or, hey, maybe this is not the right moment to talk about this. How about if we talk about this? I don't know. And be precise with the time. Yeah, if you said that you call in 2 hours, call in 2 hours. And also maybe you are not the right person. So you say like, hey, I don't feel comfortable about talking about this. And explain why.
It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to friends and to family and to let them know what your boundaries are. And it's important that they respect those boundaries, because if they don't respect those boundaries, they're not respecting you. Because we all have a family member or a friend that cannot wait to talk to us and sometimes trauma dump on you a whole bunch of things so they can feel better. Sometimes we cannot hold space for that because we have a personal relationship. If I'm invested in this, I have feelings for you. I am connected with you. So whatever you're feeling, I'm also going to feel. So it's okay for us to say, no, I'm sorry, I cannot handle that. And they have to respect those boundaries. They do. Unfortunately, we have to learn how to say no sometimes.
Sounds easy. Why is it so hard to do?
No,
It's incredibly difficult.
Especially for certain cultures.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the Spanish and the Filipinos share a lot of intrinsic values.
Yeah.
What's one message that you would like to leave with newcomers struggling with their mental health?
One of the things that we can let everybody know that we see the struggle, we see the pain, but we also see the resilience. We also see the possibility of healing. So healing is a possibility. It's possible. So I think it's important that you understand that as you are, this moment, it doesn't matter what are your circumstances, you're deserving of love, you're deserving of peace, you're deserving of healing. So get yourself a community, a strong community around you. Find yourself a good therapist and start that journey.
Also, I want to tell the audience that it's okay to ask for help. And it's also okay to not be okay. Yeah? If we're feeling that we're masking, if we're feeling that we are not sharing how authentically we are, it is okay to not feel okay. So healing looks different for each one of us. Maybe it's not just a psychotherapy session. Maybe it's connecting with supporting your community. Maybe you don't feel safe at home. Maybe it's not connecting with family members. Maybe it's connected with someone in the community, a group, or if you want to do exercise. Healing looks different in each one of us. But asking for help is a beautiful thing. We don't know. We put it out and we don't know what we are going to receive.
But is there such a thing as staying too long in your misery? You know, like sometimes.
Good question. Yeah. Well, I think that is one of those questions that don't have an answer. Because somebody can be struggling the entire life. And I think the important thing to rescue from that situation is that always try to find yourself in a place where you are doing something towards healing, right? Even if it's the most impossible situation, there's things that you can do. Even if you don't have anybody to confide, even if you don't have any friends, you can go inward and try to find safety in yourself, within you, in nature. There is so many things that you can do in your body, outside of you, in the community, to maybe, keep on fighting the good fight.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, apart from therapy, what other things do you think people can do to just take care of their mental health?
I think that nowadays we have a lot of apps that are incredibly, I'm not going to say name, but maybe guided meditations, if you are into that, or maybe exercise, or maybe finding a routine for yourself in the morning to slow down. And when I say slow down in this cultural that is moving so fast, it may be taking your time to take your coffee in the morning and just disconnect from your phone in the moment that you're taking your coffee. Or maybe it's making a space for, I don't know, doing something that you love, like sewing or any hobby that you want to explore. That's mental health, that's wellness, connecting with loved ones. Something that helped me a lot, it was I'm not a great cooker, but when I feel like I'm missing something, I have to connect with my roots. So food is always a good way to connect. So making something that suits myself. Like I love arepas, so I make arepas and I feel more connected with my culture. Connect with the ones in your community that maybe share some interest.
Sure, and if I may add a little something to what you guys were saying, you mentioned Filipino culture and Latino culture. We are so incredibly rich in ways that we can feel better. We have amazing music. We have dance. We have elders that are so full of wisdom, So let's tap into those beautiful things that we have around us. And just because we left the countries where we have that at our hands, it doesn't mean that we lost those things forever. There is ways to access those things, even if it's for a little bit, even if it's through an arepa, Try it. Do little things that make you feel better and more connected to yourself, to your culture, and to others.
People nowadays are more stressed than ever. What do you think are contributing to these increase in mental health issues?
I think, in a way, the world is on fire. There are so many difficult things that we get access to. This is an area of information. So our minds never stop because we have a device full of information right here at all times. Our minds never get to fully rest until we are sleeping. So I think one of the things that we can do is prioritize sleep and prioritize time away from screens and devices, because there is so much information that is given to us. We cannot process it all. So that contributes to a lot of information. And many times we tend to gear towards looking what is wrong here, what's happening here, in terms of looking at the beautiful things in life, trying to gear ourselves towards gratitude, trying to gear ourselves to connection. We tend to gear towards, the other side where we see disconnection, tragedy, war, discrimination, and all of those things. It's important to be informed, but it's also important to be calm and rested, because otherwise stress, anxiety, and all those things are going to creep up very easily towards us.
And in a world that is so interconnected through communication, maybe sometimes unplug is a beautiful thing to do. And what I mean is, like, we're used to be connected through our phone. You're used to be connected to our family back home. Yeah, like, that's great. But sometimes so much information, as Claudia was saying, it creates an overload. So limiting your screen time could be a good idea. Yeah, like if you know that at night you're feeling like more prone to spend too much time scrolling. So limit your time, maybe 2 hours before going to sleep, just turn your device off. And like this, you can have a quiet time to go to sleep and rest.
Reflection is also a very important part of our day that sometimes gets robbed because we're on our screens.
Yeah.
And we don't have time anymore to think about our day. Like, why did I do that? Why did I snap at my colleague earlier? What made me do that? Because, it's looking inwards. And I say that because it's a struggle also for me to make sure that that's part of my day. I realized that was getting set aside because I was so busy with other things. We do our work, we do our play, we do very useful things, but also very useless things in front of our gadgets.
Yeah.
So it's there. Sometimes I don't anymore know whether I'm really doing something important or not. Because you also switch between your chores and then you entertain yourself a little bit and then you connect with your loved ones so it's all there. It's just a muddle of things that sometimes you don't even know whether you're actually doing something good in there or it's time for you to just set it aside. But definitely you do need a lot of time to set it aside.
And whenever you say reflection can be uncomfortable sometimes. Yeah. Because whatever you're reflecting, it's something difficult that you did. So for most people, and that includes all of us, it is easier to skip to a device that is going to give all the dopamine and the feel better hormones instead of actually, what did I do? So it is important to realize that you need to step away from the gadgets, and it's easier said than done. We all gear towards them because it's so amazing. It's a constant dopamine feed, but it's important to do it. It's important to put them away.
Yeah, and maybe open the door to real human connection. Yeah,
that's true.
Communicating the old-fashioned way.
At this point, you can tell the audience what services, Journey services have for people, and how can they get in touch with you?
The best way is to give us a call. In Journey, we offer one-on-one counseling. We offer couples counseling. We offer groups, and they can give us a call. Our phone number is 647-205-8489, or they can send us an email at info@welljourneyservices.com.
Yeah, we are also on Instagram under Well Journey Services and on LinkedIn under the same name, Well Journey Services.
Yes. And all races are welcome.
Absolutely. We just speak English and Spanish, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Absolutely.
offer in other languages as well? What
We offer
languages
right
do you
now services in English and Spanish because it's the two languages that we navigate. But hopefully in the future, we don't know.
have? Maybe Tagalog later.
Maybe,
yes,
yeah, I have a very
exactly.
close relationship with your culture.
And you know what? This I won't understand what you're gonna say, but I do want you to express something in your language. It's a very beautiful language, as with all the other ethnic tongues, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Say something to our audience in your language. That way,
There
it's
you
gonna
wanna
come
start? Please don't be your language.
from your heart.
Gracias por la oportunidad que nos das de conectar con la audiencia. Yo solo quiero decir que está bien pedir ayuda, que está bien conectarse con los que queremos y está bien el no estar bien.
¿Cómo están todos? Muchos saludos desde Well Journey Services y queremos invitarlos a todos que nos visiten en nuestro website, que estamos acá para ustedes, que somos parte de la comunidad y estamos muy contentas de estar al servicio de todos ustedes.
We have covered a lot today, from the mental health challenges faced by newcomers and longtime residents to the importance of culturally sensitive support and breaking down barriers to accessing therapy. If there's one takeaway from this conversation, it's that no one has to go through these challenges alone. Whether you're struggling with stress, anxiety, or big life transitions, support is available, and seeking help is a sign of strength and not a weakness. A huge thank you to our guests, Claudia and Teresa from Well Journey Services, for sharing their insights and their expertise. If you'd like to learn more about their work and services, you may check out their website as well at welljourneyservices.com. Join us next time on Thrive Canada, where we continue to explore the real challenges and experiences of life here in the true North, and most importantly, how to thrive. Take care, stay well, and we'll see you in the next episode.